Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're starting with the analysis video for 30th of September. So firstly we see कि Kaveri disputes regarding CWMA upholds the panel's decision. So Kaveri Water Regulation Committee की जो recommendations थी, they have been endorsed. Karnataka को direct किया गया है to release 3,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu till 15th of October. So herein when we talk about the interstate water disputes, सो फर्स्टली यहाँ पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट सेड कि इट वुड नॉट बी इंटरवीनिंग. जो बॉडीज बनाई गई हैं दे नीड टू यूज देयर एक्सपर्टीज इन ऑर्डर टू डील विद दिस इशू. सेकेंडली वी नीड टू, जो अभी ये स्टेप लिया गया है, दिस इज अ शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर and we need to focus upon a sustainable long term measure. So for that we need to arrive at a formula which is agreed by all the stakeholders involved in this issue. So we need to focus upon that thing. Apart from this, twin suicide attacks in Pakistan.
What could be the solution for this?
I
The
suggest
Kaveri dispute.
that's what I said, ki we need to arrive at a one water sharing formula so that this issue does not crops up again and again in the future. Because jab suppose abhi right now we had weaker monsoon because of El Nino, so that's why again this issue again it flared up. So ye short term reasons ki wajah se, and we are not seeing so far aisa koi sustainable long term solution. So just sharing and directing Karnataka ki aap itna water release kar do. So first, obviously, they will take into consideration their domestic needs are satisfied. So that is the whole issue, and the only sustainable solution is arriving at a formula.
I think 2 or 3 steps I can raise here. Number one, that across the India such kind of problems we see. For an example, between the Punjab and Haryana, we see the water distribution problems. Then in Bundelkhand region, we also see the similar problems of the river water of Yamuna River. And in the south also we see about the Kaveri, Krishna and other Godavari like. So first reason is we need to reduce the politics here among the states. And number second is we require engineering engineers to come ahead rather than the politicians and the judiciary to decide the water sharing formula. And number third, the the project we have of linking water deficit area with the water surplus area, that we can also go in this area. So these three are the few suggestions I can raise.
Okay, so herein you are saying ki firstly you suggested that engineers, they need to be incorporated when it comes to deciding a water sharing formula. So why only engineers?
Because they are the experts in this field rather than the politicians and the judges. They do not have the technical expertise.
Okay, not politicians, but जो even CWMA बनाई गई है, water regulation committee, we can't say कि उसमें politicians involved है. Even experts people are already members of CWMA या CWRC की आप बात करो water regulation committee की, तो we can't say कि only engineers they need to be part. They should also be a part of it, so that again we can arrive at a collective decision making, and definitely we can set an example for cooperative federalism also.
I have not said that this body comprises of politicians. I have just said that the engineers needs to come ahead. Even in the last few months, the Supreme Court even said this thing that rather than the politicians to come in the forefront to decide these cases, we require expert engineers to come. So I'm reiterating the statement.
Okay, and another suggestion was that you were saying interlinkage of rivers, water deficit to water surplus areas. So herein also, जब हम बात करते हैं South Indian states में, so the rivers they are seasonal in nature. So वहाँ पे भी कितना fruitful रहेगा ये project, that also needs to be looked into. तो मतलब उसके भी अपने positives and negatives हैं.
Yeah.
Then returns on 5-year recurring deposits has been hiked. So government has raised the returns of the 5-year recurring deposits from 6.5% to 6.7% from the October, but it left the returns on all other small savings schemes unchanged. So this is a small update.
Well, in the small savings schemes, I would like to ask from you, as what are the major benefits, and how the short saving schemes of the government of India helps in financial empowerment?
See, firstly, these are backed by the government, so that is one of the major factor, I would say. Apart from this, I would say for people, this is one of the sustainable and most trustable alternative when it comes to investing their savings. And even for the government, how it is beneficial is it becomes very important source for the government as their source of financial borrowings. So we would not have to rely upon the foreign financial sources for borrowings. So these are some of
Okay, so
the.
do they become the part of these provisions like CRR, SLR, or not so?
No, these are not to be followed. These are small saving funds and schemes are being run. It is not a bank or any NBFC.
No, I'm just saying that banks, the time they need to take money from the RBI under the different provisions, they have to keep some amount into the RBI in the form of CRR, and they have to keep some amount with themselves in the form of SLR. So I'm saying that these small saving schemes, do they comprise that part or not?
No, that's what I'm saying. They do not comprise that part. They're
Okay,
not
sure.
a part of it. Then another important topic about the POXO Act. So here we have the recommendations of Law Commission. So they have submitted their report about कि क्या age of consent में कुछ changes किए जाने चाहिए. So it says कि age of consent under the POXO Act it must remain. So right now the current age of consent is that is 18 years. So this is one of the recommendations. And apart from this, it has also said कि फर्स्टली जब हम बात करते हैं एज ग्रुप ऑफ 16 to 18 years, so उसमें the suggestion is कि it would be varying from case to case basis and it is said कि guidant judicial discretion होनी चाहिए for the cases which are for the children aged between 16 to 18 years of age. So these are two major recommendations that they have suggested, and it said कि reducing the age of consent would have a direct and negative bearing on the fight against child marriage and child trafficking. It also advised the courts to tread with caution even in cases which are related to adolescent love, where criminal intention that may be missing. So ये सारे factors we need basically judiciary need to be taken into account जब ऐसा कोई case इनके सामने आता है. And apart from this POXO Act 2012, so herein we can also look into the important features of this act. So when we talk about the problem of, basically, I would say seasonal problem of worsening air quality in Delhi NCR region during the winter time. So right now, a 15-point winter action plan has been announced to fight air pollution. So we can see whether it is focusing upon long-term measures or the short-term measures and what are the measures that is being focused upon. So Delhi government is going to focus on firstly controlling this pollution, which is caused by dust and the vehicles, and war rooms have been created to help enforce the existing prohibitions which are there, and biodecomposers, they are going to be used over 5,000 acres of farmland to prevent stubble burning. So stubble burning may again major contributions come from Punjab as well. So mechanical road sweepers, water sprinkling machines, anti-smog bins, they will also be deployed to control the city's dust pollution. So here we have the data also of PM10 and PM2.5 from 2014 up till 2022. So we see that PM2.5 and PM10, they have reduced by over 30% between this period 2014 to 2022. So herein you can see the falling height of the bar diagrams as well. So this is one
Well,
of the, yeah.
Where I think here the government's approach is somehow looks narrow. The reason being, as far as the data is concerned in the Delhi, the topmost priority area from which releases the pollution in the city comes from the urbanization sector and especially the construction sector. It is around approximately 40 to 45%, but there is no action taken by either the central ministries or by the Delhi pollution departments.
Yes.
So we need to work on that.
Yeah, it is being
And
rare that pollution caused by dust in the vehicles. So these are two major factors which are responsible for worsening air quality, specifically which are coming from Delhi NCR region. So stubble burning is mainly, it is Punjab is responsible for stubble burning factor. So it
what
is.
do you think? What do you think that stubble burning is a new phenomenon?
No, it is not a new phenomenon. So that's what we are saying. Ki of late now, this has become a major problem. Earlier, it wasn't a major problem. So that's why it was obviously not focused upon, or it was not gaining attention. But now this has become an issue. So definitely, this is something not new which is happening now.
No, my concern from you is that the stubble burning was happening since the ages in
Yes.
Punjab and Haryana. But
Yeah.
why only the farmers are targeted in the name of stubble burning these days? And it is assumed that people of Delhi are bearing the brunt because of the,
Not
uh,
assume
you know,
people of Delhi they are bearing the brunt. This is actually happening. This is not an assumption. And साथ के साथ
no,
we
I'm not saying this is an assumption. I'm saying that there is an assumption that people of Punjab and Haryana are the major, conspirators behind this. Why so?
we can't
Stubble
see
burning
it
is
as a
increasing the.
conspirators, and from this angle, and you also use the word that why farmers are being targeted. So we are not targeting the farmers, we are analyzing की reason stubble burning ही है. So we are not targeting the farmers. आप क्या बोलना चाह रहे हो कि farmers को कैसे target कर रहे हैं? मतलब are we stopping them from cultivating on the fields or something like that? तो हम ये word नहीं use कर सकते कि we are targeting the farmers. So we need to look at the solutions. So stubble burning को how we can use it sustainably, even to generate renewable fuels. So that can be looked into. And apart from that, कुछ short term measures introduce भी किए गए like happy seeder machines. But वहाँ पे भी problem थी acceptability and implementation पे problem आई, because again वो farmers के लिए फाइनेंशियल बर्डन बन गया. दे नीड टू बी अगेन सो मच फाइनेंशियली स्ट्रांग एंड सिक्योर कि वो उन मशीन्स को बाय कर सके. सो हेरिन अगेन द रोल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट. सो अगेन
No,
इट
what my
इज.
concern is, you are very much right. What I really want to say is that the dust, vehicles pollution from the construction sector, and the construction of the road by using the cement and Portland cement. These are the major areas from where the pollution is happening. As far as the Delhi is concerned and the Delhi NCR is concerned, as far as the stubble burning is happening, it is happening since the ages. You
Yeah.
were saying that the happy seater machines and the technological assistance being provided by the central ministries and by the state governments in the Punjab and Haryana,
Mm.
but because of the unacceptability due to the financial problems, due to the logistics arrangement, it
Yes.
was not that much popularized. So this is uh, this is a major problem, that if this thing is not happening in its full spirit, so we
Yeah,
should focus on those
I
areas where we
agree.
can actually achieve something.
Yeah, I agree with this. Like you're saying, ki even the construction sector and the vehicles, they are also on the major factors for worsening of the air pollution in Delhi. So stubble burning is also one of them. But again, politically, only stubble burning is highlighted. So this is definitely true. But when we say अब construction sector में क्या solutions हैं, तो construction sector के लिए we can go for green cement usage. Apart from that, we can again sustainable and green building code. We need to stick to that. So ये कुछ
That
area
is Griha we have.
that is
Griha.
Griha.
It is a code for the buildings given by the RERA, under which they have to take the permission. They have to, fill the minimum environmental conditions. They have to use the green cushions outside of the construction activities so that the pollution doesn't go out.
Okay, so that again, so we need to ensure that it is effectively being implemented on the ground or not. And again, vehicle pollution की हम बात करते तो electric vehicles, we have the FAME policy. So electric vehicles may right now we are having less density of the charging infrastructure. But again, we are seeing that people are accepting electric vehicles, they are buying it. Usme again, government is also providing some amount of subsidy when you buy electric vehicle. But jo pace of change hai, that is very slow. So how we can ensure कि उसको थोड़ा हम speed up कर सके. So
I think in the vehicles pollution, we need to have a behavioral revolution towards focusing on the public accommodation, number one, and second is to have the odd even policy. That policy was also very much satisfactory. And number third is we need to focus that one person shouldn't go in one car. I mean, if he's singly going, to somewhere, so he should try to use the public vehicles rather than having a car and covering the space as well as the pollution, increasing the pollution.
Yes, public infrastructure can play an important role here. Public transportation, like we have a good network of metro rail, and apart from this, even government has also introduced electric buses also. So यहाँ पे आपने बोला कि odd even scheme में भी, so even odd even scheme में भी we need to look into the data कि वो कितनी effective रही in terms of reducing air pollution in Delhi NCR region. So on that basis we can say कि whether it was fruitful or not. So accordingly we can go ahead with that in future also. So when we talk about gender equality, one major step that we have seen is passing of the women reservation bill in the parliament. So that is focusing upon the political arena, where we can, again, how we can promote a gender inclusive environment in politics. So that is one area here in this article is focusing upon, that we need to push for more women, this time in police. So we have analyzed different sectors in IT, in police, and political representation में what is the share of women, where does even India stand, and globally भी अगर हम compare कर रहे हैं तो countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh, they are still ahead of India in terms of the women share in the politics. So this is focusing upon कि women का हम कैसे share in their role in police, we can increase that. So reservation, actual availability in the police कितनी है? So most states, they have a policy to fill up around 30 to 33% of जो vacant post है with women and the police forces through horizontal reservation, that is minimum reservation जो vacant post पे उनको दी जाती है, not filled up in each category of SC, ST, OBC categories, and unreserved with the women on merit. Women candidates are pushed up in the list to make up for this gap. So in a way यहाँ पे again डेडिकेटेडली इस चीज को नहीं किया जाता है. सो दिस इज लाइक मेयर काइंड ऑफ अ फॉर्मेलिटी कंप्लीट की जा रही है. सो दिस नीड्स टू बी चेंज्ड, एंड रिजर्वेशन फॉर वुमेन इन द स्टेट आर्म पुलिस फोर्सेस, दैट इज आल्सो रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू ओनली 10% इन सम स्टेट्स. सो दिस नीड्स टू बी इंक्रीज. देन डेटा ऑन पुलिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अगर हम देखें तो दिस इज पब्लिश्ड बाय द ब्यूरो ऑफ पुलिस रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. वहां से हमें ये समझने को मिलता है कि जो टोटल अवेलेबल स्ट्रेंथ है स्टेट पुलिस फोर्सेस की, वो इंक्रीज हुई है बाय अराउंड 7.5% इन द लास्ट 5 years. एंड यहाँ पे सैंक्शन स्ट्रेंथ जो थी, दैट इज अराउंड 24.6 लाख एंड 26 लाख रिस्पेक्टिवली. तो रिप्रेजेंटेशन जो वुमेन था स्टेट पुलिस फोर्सेस में, दैट इज increased from around 1,40,000 to 2,17,000 in the same period, which is about 7.3% से 10.5% तक increase हुआ है. तो total available force में ये changes हमें देखने को मिले हैं. And data अगर हम देखें from 2021, वो publish नहीं हुआ है by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and representation of women in the police force as of 1st of January 2022, it is only 11.7% of the total state police force. So it is only 11.7%. So यहाँ पे again major scope है of increasing their share and representation, and they can again contribute to the growth and development through their efforts and skills. So यहाँ पे we need to focus, and again then regional variations भी हमें देखने को मिल रहे हैं across different states, so you can go through this as well. And crime data or need for more women police. So अगर इसको समझे तो criminal law and criminal procedure on the concurrent list, central government has also made various amendments in these laws because the concurrent list subject है. Certain reports and statements, they are also mandatorily recorded by women police officer. So arrest and search of a woman accused must be done by a woman police officer. कुछ provisions हैं. And National Crime Records Bureau data बोल रहा है कि about 10% of the जो total crime defined है under the Indian Penal Code was committed against women, and about 5% जो है total arrested persons में से 2021 में they were women. So यहाँ पे we are talking about कि women कितनी involved हैं in crime. So accordingly we need to proportionally have that much of women police officers also. So it is undisputed कि women they can handle any assignment in a police institution. So यहाँ पे we need not have that gender bias कि woman है कैसे handle करेगी. So they have already proved their mettle in most police duties. And democratic country, every institution needs to be truly representative of its populace to win their trust. So this can be one of the major changes and efforts must be made. So police एक state subject है, 7th schedule of the constitution में list 2 के अंदर आता है, and implementation of police reforms remains primarily a concern of state. So police reforms का ये एक बहुत important component हो सकता है. So Ministry of Home Affairs, it began providing financial incentives also 2019 से, where it reserved 10% in the first year and 20% the total modernization funds thereafter so to the state so that वो police reforms को implement कर सके एक satisfactory level तक. तो merging of women police with the regular police एक ये रिफॉर्म था. अब देखने वाली बात ये है कि इसको हमने कितने हद तक कहाँ तक इसको हम इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाए हैं. And though the establishment of the police recruitment board, it was another such reform. So this was second component. So many states, again, हमें इतना कोई enthusiasm या dedication interest नहीं दिखा from different states about implementing these reforms. Satisfaction level की बात करें तो satisfaction level आप कैसे determine करोगे? This is also subjective term. So MHA also provided special grant to encourage the states to establish a women desk also in every police station. So there are not enough women personnels to handle different cases in the districts. So efforts should be made to encourage more women to join the police force. And for this, a conducive environment होना चाहिए, basic infrastructure availability होनी चाहिए. These are some minimum necessity. And police Uniform Police Act for the entire country. This will help us in having a uniform standard for the women police also. So हर एक स्टेट का एक रिक्रूटमेंट बोर्ड होना चाहिए. They need to ensure कि रिक्रूटमेंट रेगुलर बेसिस पे भी की जा रही है. And taking steps forward, special drive should be launched by all states and UTs to recruit more women and increase the representation of the police force, just as Constitutional 128th Amendment for women in the legislatures would do in the near future. So instead
So
of
I think along with this, we need to focus on some other aspects also, because just giving the women's representation in the police authorities and departments is not suffice. Along with that, we have to ensure that their privileges do not get subsidized, their security is ensured. Not only the women desk, this minute officer level work should not be assigned only to the women. They should be the positions like investigation officers, SHOs, ACP, DCP like officers. They should also be having the women as as the representative. And in especially those cases where the women are very much required, for an example, the sexual harassment cases with our girls, with our female counterpart, there should be enough women personnel and the officers in the police departments who can deal these kind of cases in a very suitable, very sensitive, and very responsible manner. So we need to work and we need to look in those areas also along with this problem.
Yes, so we talked about this, Heron, कि crime data के हिसाब से we need more women police officers as well. So this can be one of the examples that you have given कि sexual harassment cases में we need more women. So this is already a provision कि we need all these cases needs to be handled by women police officers. So this can become an example of this. And yes, multiple चीजें हैं, not just ये बोलना कि reservation है या उनको reservation provide करना है, representation more recruitment के through increase कर देंगे तो काम हो जाएगा. तो obviously that would be a narrow approach and interpretation of it.
Yeah, I mean this is a topic which we can link even to the criminal justice system. We require more women lawyers. We require more women judges in the High Court, Supreme Court.
Yes.
We require more investigation officers in the police also. So it's a part of criminal justice system.
Yeah. So yeah, we can talk about multiple dimensions, multiple areas. Like जैसे अभी बात कर रहे थे कि not just in legislatures या political arena में हम क्यों women representation को increase करने की बात करें, पुलिस में भी होना चाहिए, health care में भी होना चाहिए, judiciary में भी होना चाहिए, space sector में भी होना चाहिए, defense में भी होना चाहिए. तो ये सारे different micro subzooms बन जाएंगे. So when we talk about WTO and the reforms, तो global dispute system यहाँ पे एक again this is one of the part जब हम reform बात करते हैं WTO में, तो WTO का जो dispute settlement system है that is not working as it should, so it conceived as a two-tier panel कम appellate body की तरह work करता है. It has been dysfunctional since 2019 because USA ने appointment of the members to the appellate body उसको block करके रखा है. So this was hailed as the crown jewel of WTO, but dispute settlement mechanism, again, it has been dysfunctional. So firstly, we need to pay attention over here, and around 493 rulings issue की गई है since its establishment 1995 में WTO को establish किया गया था. So International Court of Justice has also dealt with only around 190 cases since 1947. So you can see कि कितने सारे cases they have been put forward behind the in forward of the dispute settlement body of WTO. So definitely it is very, very important कि it functions in a smoother manner. Apart from this, when we talk about the investor state dispute settlement mechanism, so the future of the WTO is the appellate process that is also uncertain. So appellate body की बात करिए, इस aspect की बात करें, तो यहाँ पे this is another area of international law which is witnessing formative stages for an appellate process in international investment law. So these are some areas. Bilateral investment treaties की जा रही है, so कुछ issues यहाँ पे भी देखने को मिल रहे हैं. So appellate body, that function also needs to be delivered effectively. India has had a checkered history with this system, ISDS, with 5 adverse awards. So 4 were in favor of India and many of them are still pending. So appellate review के क्या benefits है? तो एक critical structure facet of ISDS mechanism, which is also present in India's bilateral investment treaties and few जो free trade agreements हमने sign करे, it is that it operates through ad hoc or one-off arbitration tribunals without any appellate review. So international investment law, hundreds of ISDS tribunals हैं जो operate कर रहे हैं under different arbitral institutions. So several occasions पे we have seen offered diverging interpretations also of the same treaty provisions. So likewise जो ये tribunals हैं, they have reached opposite conclusions despite interpreting, applying the same treaty to the same facts. तो यहाँ पे हमें again divergent conclusions देखने को मिल रहे हैं. Absence of an appellate review mechanism की वजह से it means कि inconsistent and incoherent decisions लिए गए हैं, and legal reasoning dot the landscape of international investment law also. So it is also connected to international investment law also. So appellate review mechanism, it will allow for rectifying जो भी errors हमने किए हैं, जो again हमने देखा है कि in terms of divergent conclusions which has been drawn by several tribunals. So rectifying the errors of law and then harmonizing diverging interpretations. So India का क्या stand है? So although India, it has not made a formal statement on this issue, but India presumably it supports idea of appellate review in this ISDS, which is investor state dispute settlement, because Article 29 जो Indian model bilateral investment treaty है, that also talks of it. So given India के जो concerns हैं, so India के concerns है about inconsistency and incoherence in the system. So supporting the creation of appellate review mechanism will be in India's interest also. So definitely we support कि again एक appellate review mechanism भी create किया जाना चाहिए. So in any case, India will have to take a stand on this issue as part of the ongoing investment treaty negotiations, even with European Union also. So यहाँ पे भी our stand remains the same. So since India's quest, it has always been to establish a rules-based global order. So this would be helping in furthering this. And it should support an appellate review, which will usher in greater confidence even for the states and investors also in international investment law. So for those same reasons, India should also push for the restoration of WTO appellate body also towards achieving the goal of a fully and well-functioning dispute settlement mechanism at WTO. The world is taking note of rising India's resolve, says the army chief. So, jo India ka stance around the Ukraine conflict, that is a fine example how New Delhi stood steadfast on addressing the legitimate pursuits of national interest. And also, jo 2020 standoff with China, that has been also cited. So again, jo hamara stand raha Ukraine conflict mein, that was balanced. We try to balance our relationship with Russia and even with the Western world at the same time. सो इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट कि हमने डेफिनेटली हमारे जो नेशनल इंटरेस्ट थे उनको प्रेमेसी दी है. सो इट इज क्लियर कि इवन वर्ल्ड इज ऑल्सो टेकिंग नोट ऑफ दिस, एंड we definitely
What would be the India's stand here in the Ukraine conflict? Can you please explain it in one line?
our stand so far it has been that definitely we are like not directly targeted even Ukraine or directly targeted Russia over here, because USA, obviously it is clear, USA, the Western world, it is supporting Ukraine in this conflict, so we say ki kind of proxy war is also going. So India ने एक सिंगल पार्टी को सपोर्ट नहीं किया है. वी ऑल्सो वांट कि हम रशिया को भी जो हमारे टाइज हैं वो खराब ना हो, बिकॉज इवन रशिया हैज proved and all with a friend for India always. So रशिया से हमने during this war जो हमारा share of crude oil imports था वो massively increase हुआ है. So that is one stand. And यूक्रेन के लिए भी obviously हमने ये बोला है कि आज के टाइम में वॉर नहीं होना चाहिए. सो दिस इज बीन कि हम वॉर को भी नहीं सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं.
So can we say that the India should lead in reducing the conflict among these two countries and should try to reduce the strains among them by using our NAM policy?
नाम पॉलिसी का तो आई डोंट थिंक सो इसमें इतना कुछ इफेक्टिव यूज होगा, बट येस डेफिनेटली अगर इंडिया का जो स्टैंड रहा है दैट हैज आल्सो गेन्ड इंटरनेशनल रिकॉग्निशन, तो डेफिनेटली इंडिया कैन it can lead in when we come to talk about having discussions over ending this war, because Russia or Ukraine and then obviously Western world would also be required to be on the same table when we talk about going forward with these discussions. So definitely we can lead in here.
So do you agree with this view that this is a very humanitarian cause when these two countries are fighting amongst each other, and the support of Eastern countries and the Western countries are also aligned, and the human cry has happened, the displacement, refugee crisis has happened, food and security problem has happened. So what do you think? Who is the potent authority who can actually, make this war to an end?
So I can't say
Because we have
a single authority would be able to successfully bring this war to an end. We require support from multiple supporters. Secondly, war is not a solution. Even like we say, ki no one wins a war, and primacy needs to be given to securing the human rights. So human rights violations that cannot be tolerated at any cost. And as I said,
so during the war and all these human right violations are a normal thing. When war happens, human right violations are normal things. My question is how we can lead to an end to this war.
So for bringing this war to an end, I just believe जो parties to the war है, they need to be on the same table and go forward with the discussions. और कोई solution नहीं है. Like we can't say कि एक single body would be responsible for bringing this war to an end. So India definitely we can bring Russia, and even we see कि Russia और China की closeness increase हुई है, तो they need to be on the same page. And this was definitely visible, the support, or as we say कि 100% consensus that we were able to achieve even during the G20 summit. So that is in a way signaling कि we can bring all these multiple stakeholders on the single platform for the discussions.
One more question in this topic: that what do you think that why the United Nations is very much silent on this issue?
Why United Nations is silent on this issue? I can't think of any point right now.
Okay, fine. So we can move ahead.
Okay, so what would you give as a reason for this? Why you?
Well, I mentioned in the earlier class, in the earlier session also, that on the international level there is no third power who can actually have an adjudication and mediation between between such countries who are at war. As we are seeing the stance of Azerbaijan, Armenia on the similar lines of the Ukraine and Russia, what we have to do is, just I mentioned that India should lead the policy of NAM, and it should focus. It should stress the United Nations should come and to have an active role and play in reducing the conflict between these two countries, and the countries who are supporting this time by providing the tanks, the ammunition, the arms to these countries, um, they should be prevented by the United Nations in doing that. That is the active role that India can play in the UN, so that UN can take actions against these two countries the United Nations can put some bans on these countries' economic relations, financial, cultural, and the bilateral relations with a number of countries. Only this is the possible way out. Otherwise, taking what India has done, India has taken a defensive account to protect its national interest this time in this war, because neither India has criticized Russia nor has criticized Ukraine because of different diplomatic reasons and bilateral engagements with these two different independent countries. So rather than going only on this path, the country should come on a common platform, which is UN, with a common agenda to end this war, and that in that cause we can take the lead on the basis of our NAM policy, that is having the independence of territory, of sovereignty, of integrity of different countries. So this is a possible way out rather than taking defensive strategy as every country is taking.
So, Heron, as you just asked this question, कि UN का क्या stance है? So, UN में obviously we'll talk about कि UNSC and the veto powers जो permanent 5 members enjoy करते हैं. तो how can this war come to an end? And we can't say कि UN ने कोई stance नहीं लिया या third party कोई role नहीं play कर सकती. तो आपने पहले बोला third party कोई role नहीं play कर सकती. And then your end में आपने ये conclusion draw किया कि UN would be playing that important role of and bringing this war to an end. So these are two conflicting ideas that you
I'm saying on international level there is no third power. I'm saying this. I'm not saying that anyone can't do anything.
हाँ, तो वी कांट से कि एक सिंगल थर्ड पावर आके इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करेगी या पूरा सारा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उसके ऊपर होगा कि इट वुड बी हेल्पिंग इन ब्रिंग दिस वॉर टू एन एंड. तो ये तो ऑब्वियसली मतलब अंडरस्टूड है कि कोई एक थर्ड पार्टी कंट्री नहीं आके रोल प्ले कर सकती. एंड इवन यूएन में भी जो वीटो पावर्स हैं तो ऑब्वियसली रशिया चाइना है, दे कांट obviously veto powers वो अपना use करेंगे in their own favor.
No, actually, China is not focusing on war. China is focusing on economic expansion. So China is a country which has molded its identity in the economic arena rather than the expansionist or territorial arena. So China actually can help in this way out.
नो बट इवन चाइना का हमने देखने को मिला है कि चाइना ने भी अपना कोई ऐसा क्लियरली स्टांस पुट फॉरवर्ड नहीं किया है, पब्लिक नहीं किया, बट इट इज डेफिनेटली क्लियर कि इट इज सपोर्टिंग रशिया इन दिस वॉर. सो व्हाई वुड इट बी, मतलब यूएन पे आपको क्या लगता है फिर चाइना का क्या स्टांस रहेगा? यू बिलीव कि इट वुड बी गोइंग एंटी रशिया देयर?
I think if US and India will not counter China on this stance, so China can also come with the US and India, and all these the remaining veto countries except India, they can actually force Russia to have a way out.
नो बट इवन यहाँ पे भी प्रॉब्लम है कि यूएसए और चाइना के बीच में भी जो प्रॉब्लम्स है, जो टेंशंस इंक्रीज हो रही है, बिकॉज अगेन चाइना के लिए ताइवान भी एक इम्पोर्टेंट एरिया है. तो वहां पे इट वुड बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू ब्रिंग चाइना एंड यूएसए टुगेदर ऑन द सेम थिंग.
Well, on this part, so India will also be a problem because the Arunachal is considered as a claim by the China. So why the India will go with China then?
हाँ, तो दैट इज डेफिनेटली देयर. इंडिया के भी कुछ कंसर्न्स हैं जो हमारे इश्यूज हैं, बट मोर सो जो अगेन दिख रहा है कि यूएसए और चाइना को हाउ कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट कि दे वुड बी कमिंग ऑन द सेम प्लेटफॉर्म स्पेसिफिकली दिस वॉर, जब ये भी दिख रहा है कि चाइना सपोर्टिंग रशिया है.
So that is a similar thing for the India also. India is also very much in support of Russia.
नो वी कांट से कि इंडिया रशिया को सपोर्ट कर रहा है इस वॉर में. वी हैव बीन बैलेंसिंग
No,
आवर.
I'm not saying that Russia is supporting war. India is supporting war with Russia. I'm saying India is in support with Russia also, as it is with the Ukraine.
हाँ, वो दोनों चीजें दोनों तरफ है इंडिया.
Yeah.
बेसिकली हम अपना जो वही बैलेंस मेंटेन करके चल रहे हैं दोनों साइड से, एंड वी आर अगेन गिविंग प्रेमिसेस टू आवर ओन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट. सो कोर सेक्टर ग्रोथ टू 14-month हाई रिकॉर्ड की गई है. सो प्रोडक्शन एट 8, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर इट क्लाइम्स बाय 12%. सो यहाँ पे अगेन वी आर सीइंग स्ट्रेंथनिंग कोर सेक्टर, सो इट इज गिविंग अगेन अ पॉजिटिव signal to our current economic growth. Eurozone inflation slows to 2-year low, so at the same time this is also positive news that we are having And Eurozone se related, again, we are having some concerns related to whether it is heading towards a slowdown or a major recession or not. But in slowing down of inflation, that is again positive, also negative, also for negative for the growth rate. So fiscal deficit hits 36% of the financial year target in August. Fiscal deficit right now, we are on track to achieve a fiscal deficit target of 5.9%. So next we will cover in this part 2 of this video.